Hi, this is Mike from the Substream, and this is an episode of Watch This Instead for the week ending the 12th of June, 2009. And today we're treated to the third pairing in 5 years, what a treat, of Tony Scott, brother of Ridley, one-time director of Top Gun, and his favorite actor dude, Denzel Washington, following the overwrought but kind of entertaining Man on Fire and the completely ridiculous migrainal Deja Vu comes the completely pointless remake of The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. This film stars John Travolta as the manic rider who, along with his gang of bad dudes, takes over a New York City subway train, the Pelham 123, and Denzel plays Garber, the regular dude, the poor, unfortunate, unlucky train dispatcher guy who just so happens to be sitting at the desk at the time when the thing happens and ends up somehow being the hostage negotiator. The film also stars Luis Guzman, John Turturro, and James Gandolfini, all of whom are completely wasted in a film that tries so hard to be something more than a shallow, unconvincing, unthrilling, pointless, nothing-to-say remake of a film that didn't need to be remade. The film and its characters have these subplots, these hidden motivations that are supposed to be complex and deep and compelling, but they're instead so obvious and inert and moribund that they just end up kind of being vaguely insulting, tacky and manipulative. Okay, so the filmmakers made this choice where the original character of Garber in the original film, played by Walter Matthau, was this tough, sardonic transit cop. And they've changed that so that Garber's no longer a cop. He's instead an everyman, a troubled dude, a train dispatcher who's fighting to clear his name after being accused of taking a bribe. And okay, well, you can understand why they did that. To make the film 1 inch deeper, a slightly different twist on the good guy, bad guy thing. Are they both the same? Are they different? Gives Denzel something to sink his teeth into, something to do, something to work with, some cool character stuff. So they make him an everyman. Okay, I understand that. It's bravo. It's something slightly different. But that means that the last third of the film, in which this everyman, this regular dude who spills coffee on himself and gets hectored by a mean boss, when he becomes this heroic cop dude who's running through the street with a gun, trying to get the bad guy, jumping over cars, it's completely ludicrous. It's completely out of left field, and it's a betrayal of the film, of itself, of the first two-thirds of what, meager but still character work, thematic work, and tonal work that the film got done. There's a car chase shot in Tony Scott's trademark hyperkinetic, super frenetic style, except the cars aren't chasing each other. It's just cars driving fast from one place to another place. Motorcycles zoom. There's no tension. A rat biting a sniper's foot is a key plot point in this film. There's a shot where James Gandolfini, who's playing the mayor, is talking to one of his assistants on a regular street corner about how much money they can get out of the bank without prior approval from the Fed, something completely stupid. And the camera orbits them completely, 360 degrees, like 5 times. For no reason. Denzel's running through the street chasing a guy who's going to get away, except the guy's in a cab and he doesn't know he's being chased by Denzel. Everywhere there could be tension or suspense, there isn't, because the film's not very well made. So much noise, so much talent, so little meaning. This film trades the original film's funky, urban, stylish score by David Shire for a short remix version of 99 Problems by Jay-Z, a song that came out like 6 years ago that every single person who's seen the film has heard 10,000 times. So what should you watch instead? Well, you could watch The Inside Man, which is Spike Lee's take on Denzel Washington as a New York City hostage negotiator, and it's a superior film. You could watch Quick Change, which has Bill Murray as a bank robber who's trying to escape New York City with the loot, much like John Travolta's character. Or you could watch the original, but that's probably too obvious a recommendation for me to make. The best thing about that film, the original film, for me, other than the score by David Shire, was Robert Shaw as the head of the bad dudes who would later inspire Quentin Tarantino to name all of his characters in Reservoir Dogs, Mr. White, Mr. Pink, and Mr. blah, 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 etc. He was a cold, calculating, ruthless bastard, and the character was played by John Travolta as a manic broker dickhead in the remake, but the villain in the original is a million times better. Robert Shaw is spectacular and most famously played Quint in Jaws, but for me, he was always at his best when he was playing villains, as in the original Pelham film, as in From Russia with Love, and as in the film that you should watch instead of the taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 remake, in The Sting, when he played mob boss Doyle Lonigan. That film is a masterpiece. It manages to be, by turns, tense and suspenseful and touching and moving, but funny and entertaining, all without crazy 360-degree pans, slowed down, sped up film, and remixed 6-year-old hip-hop tracks. Imagine that.